You know what really made me want to start changing the way I eat and working out?
What's that?
Man, I went to go look in the mirror when I took my shirt off. Man, I had a pair of titties, man. I said, damn.
Oh, mine are still firm.
Is it still firm?
They're still up here. My nipples are always hard, but I don't know.
Yeah, that might be something else. In 1975, a 22-year-old man named Travis Walton from Snowflake, Arizona, was a part of a 7-man foresting crew. One of them noticed that a little bit of ways away, there was some bright light in the sky. They said they saw a disc-shaped object in the eye with in the air with a bunch of light panels all along the bottoms in a circle around the bottom of the craft. So just as he's about to run back, a beam of light shoots down on Travis like a lightning bolt and knocks him like 20 feet back. As 5 days goes by, they're on the 5th day, and Travis shows up. He sits down for an interview, man, and what Travis told him shocked the world, bro. What's going on? Late night family. We back in the building. Coming to bring you another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. I am your host, King J, also known as Nephew. And to my left is my co-host.
I'm JR, Big Unc.
What's up, Big Unc?
Shit, you already know, Nephew.
How you feeling today, man?
I'm a little scared, but...
A little scared?
Yeah, I think I am because I think I have a little anxiety because I haven't been able to sleep well.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know, if y'all do watch the podcast faithfully, y'all know we've been saying it the past couple weeks that he's supposed to be getting knee surgery done. He old as hell,
Yeah.
Knees done been through a lot of wear and tear.
A lot of wear and tear, man. Warehouse work and...
Hell yeah.
A lot of cement, dog.
But seriously, on a serious note, though, you worked your whole life.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, them knees have taken a beating. And plus, it just run in our family, apparently.
Well, it's time for a replacement, period.
Yeah.
Let's get right into this, man. I know you got something amazing, as you always do.
Man, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, man. Well, before we jump into today's topic, I just want to tell y'all, wherever y'all watching, man, whether that be YouTube, whether that be Spotify, whether that be Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from, man, go ahead and drop a follow, man. Drop a follow on that. Follow our page, man. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Thumbs up, man. Let's get prayer hands in the chat for Unc, man, for tomorrow week.
Appreciate it.
We got a big surgery coming up. But, man, wherever y'all watching, man, give us a follow, man. Give us a like. Give us a review on Spotify. That helps us out a lot.
Right.
If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Punch that bell in the face so you get notified every time we drop a video. And that is every Friday at 8 a.m. So, without further ado, Unc, let's go ahead and jump into today's story.
Let's go.
As you know, we love alien, we love paranormal things, right. Conspiracy theories, true crime. Well, today, I got an alien abduction story for you.
Oh, okay, so you changed it up on me.
You told us today. It was going to be a true crime.
Well, that's what I was expecting.
So this is the story of Travis Walton.
Okay.
And it's actually the most famous case of alien abduction ever told, man.
Right.
A lot of people think it's a hoax. There's a lot of evidence to support that it could be a hoax. But for those enthusiasts out there who are into aliens and into things like that, man, this is a big story for you.
Right. Well, you know that I do believe in aliens.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that. Remember we had talked about that abduction.
About the abduction stories.
And I'm not quite there yet because I just think that
a lot of it is fabricated.
It has to be because why wouldn't they have done this already? I know that years back that we're here. They helped build the pyramids. I don't care what anybody says. They were not built by human hands.
Oh, yeah, they couldn't have been.
But anyways...
so let's go ahead and jump right in. So, in 1975, a 22-year-old man named Travis Walton from Snowflake, Arizona, was a part of a 7-man foresting crew that was led by a man named Michael Rogers, which is the older brother of his longtime friend Carl Rogers.
Okay.
Him, Carl, and Travis, they had an image of bad boys in their city.
Oh, 75,
Yeah, and around that time, Travis, he's 22 years old, man. He's a ladies' man. He rides on a Harley. He's got like a bad boy image. He was a boxer. He was really tough.
James type of guy.
Yeah, he was a boxer. He was real tough. So a lot of people would look at this man and be like, man, this man wouldn't tell stories like this. But, man, this is what happened. So he was a part of a 7-man foresting crew that was led by Michael Rogers. So they were contracted to thin out some trees in the area known as Turkey Springs in the Apache Sit Grove National Forest the year prior. So they were set to thin out about 1,200 acres of forest, by August 1975. But Rogers had put in a request for an extension until November 10th. Well, sometime in October, a Forestry Service inspector went to visit the site and noted that there was no way they were going to be done by the deadline. And if they didn't meet it, there was going to be a $2,500 fine, which at that time equates to about $14,000 in this time. And they were a bit of a smaller contracting company, bro. I mean, they didn't have like tons of money. Matter of fact, the only reason why they got this bid is because they lowballed big time against the other two competitors.
And they can't afford $2,500
so
fine.
They probably can't afford that. So on the evening of November 5th, man, they're working hard. And back then, dog, they had, the chainsaws they had. It wasn't like big companies, trucks with the pullers that would rip the tree out of the ground.
They were small
equipment.
Companies, what you're saying.
Bro, they were chopping down trees and cutting them with chainsaws.
Okay.
So on November 5th, man, 1975, about 6 p.m., they finished their work and all piled into the truck to head home for the night. Well, on the way back, they were driving down this access road, and they get to like a heavily forested part of the area. One of them noticed that a little bit of ways away, there was some bright light in the sky. And so it was shining really bright because it was dark in the area they were in, and it was beaming. It's bright. So they were like, man, they were kind of debating, should we go check it out? Should we just keep going home? Well, Travis was like, man, let's just go check it out. So they drive to a clearing right where the lights were at. And man, they're astonished. As soon as they get to the clearing, bro, they see, before I get to that, just know, dog, during the investigation of this thing, all 6 of these guys were all polygraphed. They were all polygraphed, they were all tested, and they all passed.
They all passed, like what they said was true.
Yes. So check this out. Well, 5 of them passed. One of them came back inconclusive.
Okay.
Which means the test just wasn't administered properly. But yeah, so they get to a clearing, right? And they said they saw a disc-shaped object in the eye with in the air with a bunch of light panels all along the bottoms in a circle around the bottom of the craft. And it wasn't doing anything. It was just floating in midair. It wasn't spinning, just kind of floating like it was suspended in the air. So as they park, Travis hops out and he runs because, bro, he's one of those guys who he's not afraid to investigate nothing.
Right. He's the James Dean. Right.
He's the bad boy. So there's even a story about him one time where he was working. He was on his way to work with a friend, and a bear hopped out on the middle of the road that they were in, and he jumped out of the car and beat up and chased the bear into the forest. Dog, dude is tough.
One of the guys that ain't afraid of nothing. I hear you.
And so that toughness might have costed him what happened next.
Okay.
So he jumps out. And, his other crew members
are terrified.
They're kind of terrified. They're just amazed. They're like, wow. One of them is actually a carpenter also by trade.
Right.
And he was astonished by the crafting, like the details of the bottom of the craft looked like it was done by
So was that close?
Yeah, it was about 50 feet in the air.
So they could
it was
see right
above
there,
them.
yeah.
And he just detailed to the cops that how intricate the markings and the design of the craft was. There was no edges. It was all, disc shaped. It was awesome. So Travis runs underneath, and he's just kind of staring up at it. And the crew kind of like comes to their senses, and they're like, "Hey!" They start calling Travis, "Man, get back over here, bro! Like, what are you doing? Come on!" Just as about Travis is gonna take off back, man, the craft starts to spin. And it starts to make a weird mechanical noise. So as he's seeing this, he's kind of like, damn, I guess I should get back. So just as he's about to run back, a beam of light shoots down on Travis like a lightning bolt and knocks him like 20 feet back, is what the crew reported to the police. Damn. He gets knocked back, and the crew in the truck gets so scared that they put it in reverse and they drive off.
Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord.
Oh, they left his buddy.
They left him, right?
Wow.
They get so scared, bro, because they didn't know if whatever hit him killed him, and they were like, man, what if it comes out after us?
Right.
So they spin around, they head down the road. Well, they get a little bit of ways down the road, and the crew leader, he starts saying, damn, man, like, he starts feeling bad that they left Travis there. And they notice that the craft it wasn't following them. So he tells his crew, look, I'm going to go back for Travis. If y'all want to stay here and wait for me, y'all stay here, but this truck is going back.
Right.
We're going back to get him. Well, they were like, man, we'd rather go with you than stay here.
Right,
So
I mean, left alone.
they all hop in the truck and they head back. And on their way back, one of them noted to the police that they saw that same craft with the lights kind of fly out of view.
Oh, okay.
And so as they get to that clearing where Travis was at and the craft was at, the craft was gone and Travis was nowhere to be seen. So they searched for a little bit, kind of called out for him, and nothing. So they get in the truck, they rush out, and they get to the nearest payphone, and they call the local sheriff's office. And they tell them, look, guys, we don't know what happened. We need y'all to come down here. Our friend is missing. We can't find him. And we'll explain to you what happened, because if I tell you over the phone, it might not make sense.
Right.
So Sheriff Marlon Gillespie and Deputy Kenneth Copeland arrive. So as they get there and they say, hey guys, what happened? What's going on? Well, they start telling them everything they saw, and they saw their friend get knocked back, and now they can't find him. So at first, they don't believe them. The cops are like, okay, maybe these guys killed their friend, and now they're trying to make up a story. And so the cops kind of tell them, look,
take them in.
I'm going to be honest with y'all guys. This story is kind of crazy. Is it okay if we do a search of y'all's vehicle? And, we just want to make sure y'all are not under the influence of anything. Y'all weren't drinking. So the guys tell them, sure, man, search our vehicle. So they search. They don't find nothing. So the guys are kind of waiting for the cops to get finished. And in their minds, they're thinking like, damn, they probably think we killed him. And so the sheriffs come up to the guys and they tell them, look, come on, y'all be real with us. What happened to Travis, y'all's friend? We'll go easy on y'all. Just please tell us what happened.
Be honest, right?
And they're like, man, we're being honest, man. This is what happened. So they took them down to the station, to do some more questioning, and that's where they got polygraphed at. They all get polygraphed, separate rooms, for 2 hours apiece.
Damn.
2 hours apiece. Each individual member, all 6 of them, are interviewed in separate rooms. They all tell the same story. Exactly the same. Maybe a couple minor details because it's from their perspective. But everything that happened was told the same. So the polygraph test guy, the guy they got, he's like world renowned. He's one of the best.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah, at that time. So as he's doing the test, they all finished. Like I said, 5 of them all said pass with flying colors. One of them came back inconclusive, but they ended up retesting him and he passed.
Okay.
So the examiner tells the sheriff, look, I'm going to be honest with you. These guys are telling the truth. I don't know how they passed all of them.
Right.
They all got questioned separately, and they all told the same thing, and none of them are lying.
Right.
And so, dude, it's crazy, man. This starts getting national attention, of course, and, of course, they start calling in a search party. So, right around that time, bro, for 3 days they searched that whole area, and they weren't finding anything. Well, one day on that search, Mike, the head guy, he was near the area where Travis disappeared, and he saw these people in red jackets. They were all in red, shiny jackets, and they had these machines on the ground. They were scanning the ground in that area where the craft was at and where Travis went missing. Right where that beam hit, they were scanning and scanning. So he walks up to one of the guys. He's like, hey, what are y'all looking for? And that guy says, oh, we're looking for radiation. And he's like, He's like, that's kind of strange. And he's like, yeah, we're just testing for radiation. He's like, so
who are they?
Well, that's the thing. He starts asking them, who are y'all guys? And he kind of don't answer him. He's just like, oh, we're just here. We're just called here to test for radiation. That's all. And so he's trying to get more information out of him. Hey, who are y'all guys? What are y'all doing here? Like, are y'all part of the search? And so the guy's kind of not answering him. He's just kind of like
acting weird.
Acting weird. He's just scanning the ground, kind of ignoring him. So Mike in his head thinks, well, we were right near all this stuff that happened. If y'all are looking for radiation, whatever that light was, it might have got on our clothes. And so he tells the guy, hey, will y'all scan me, scan my clothes, whatever. So they scan him, nothing. So Mike kind of starts thinking back like, well, we did go home and change. It's been a couple of days. He's like, oh, our hard hats were in the back of the truck. So he runs to the truck. He grabs a hard hat. He comes back to the guy. He says, hey, scan this hard hat. So the guy gets the machine. He waves it in front of the hard hat, and it spikes all the way to the top.
Nothing but radiation.
Nothing but radiation on it. So he looks at his other members of the crew members, the guys in the red jackets, and he kind of signals them to come over here. They look at it. They look at the hard hat. They scan it again. It beeps again. They all look at each other. They just kind of nod, and then they just start walking off. And so Mike is like, where are y'all going?
Yeah, you got me confused.
And he's
now.
calling them like, where are y'all going? And they won't answer him. They just keep walking into, I guess, wherever their vehicle is at. So Mike goes back to the sheriff, and he tells him, hey, man, who are those guys in the red jackets who y'all have testing for radiation? Sheriff's like, I don't have nobody testing for radiation here. He's like, bro, I just talked to him. Like, I just talked to these guys. They scanned our hard hats for radiation, and they said there was radiation on them, and they won't answer any questions. They just left. And the sheriff is like, man, we didn't call nobody. So whoever they are aren't part of the search crew.
What?
And so, dude, it's crazy.
The law didn't even know they were there.
Exactly, dude. So the sheriff didn't know whether, who they were, and they just left. And so, they left it at that, man. And eventually, they reach out to Travis's family, and that was another weird thing. The sheriff said that they reacted to the news weirdly. Like,
yeah.
They were like, oh, well, these kind of things happen. People go missing. They were like, okay, you're not concerned? Like, so it was just a whole weird thing, bro, about this case.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't understand who those guys in red were.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
Red, usually somebody, hazmat is yellow. You know?
And then there was red and shiny, so I'm wondering if that's, I don't know, who could that be?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, a little bit ways down, 5 days goes by. They're on the 5th day, and Travis shows up.
5 days later?
5 days later, bro.
After
he's been missing. After 5 days of being missing, Travis shows up. On his 5th day of disappearance, Travis wakes up, and he's laying face down on the road, and it is raining, and it's nighttime. He had no idea where he was. He just remembers seeing that bright light above him, and he looks up over his shoulder, like he kind of gets up, and he looks up, and he sees that same craft in the light, and it's kind of like flying off in the distance. So he gets up, man. He's real dehydrated. He's weak, but he manages to see, like, in the distance of where he's at, he sees a rest stop, kind of like in the distance. So he musters up some strength, and he runs to the nearest phone booth at that rest stop, and he calls his brother. His brother picks up, and he's like, hey, it's Travis. Like, can you come pick me up? I'm at this rest area. Like, and his brother's like, at first he don't believe it's Travis.
Right.
He's like, bro, he's like, he just keeps saying, I'm Travis. It's me, bro. Like, I'm Travis. Come get me. I'm at this. So his brother goes, and it is Travis. He picks him up. They get in the car, and he's real weak, man, kind of in and out. He's tired. He don't feel good. He's dehydrated. And his brother's talking to him, and as they're talking, Travis starts telling his brother that he doesn't know what he was doing there, but he's like, man, just a few moments ago, I seen this craft in the sky, and now I woke up here. He's like, I don't know what the hell is. It's crazy. And his brother was like, what do you mean a few moments ago? Travis, you've been missing for 5 days. And he's like, he was shocked, bro. He couldn't believe it. So his brother starts telling Travis, like, bro, you've been missing for 5 days.
He didn't even have a clue.
And he didn't know. He's like, man, we're worried about you, man. We thought the worst. We thought you were gone forever. And so his brother was on the way home, but then he's like, you know what? Let me take you to a hospital. Because he said, man, if you don't remember that you've been missing for 5 days, we need to make sure you're okay. So they drive him to a hospital, to a local hospital. They check on him. Of course, the doctor had been watching, the news, and he knew who Travis was. So they take him in, they examine him, they take blood, and everything came back clear. The only thing they found on Travis was a weird injection site in his arm. And they didn't know what it was, but other than that, he was fine. So they sent him home. Well, as soon as he gets home, of course, news media starts finding out.
Yeah.
The sheriffs find out he's home. So the sheriffs, they start calling, trying to get in touch with Travis, and they tell him, man, we need to please talk to you. Please. Right. So they make a meeting at Travis's home. The sheriff pulls up, and he starts talking to him, but Travis is still having a hard time trying to remember some of the stuff the sheriff is asking him. Like,
okay.
He's like, man, do you remember anything? And he's like, man, I don't. He's like, I just remember seeing the craft. I remember seeing this bright light. And so everything is matching up to the guy's story.
Right.
So the sheriff knows, okay, so this must have happened. And so, but he's not getting any more information.
So he doesn't remember anything.
He doesn't really remember much at all. He's still kind of out of it. And so he tells him, you know what, get you some rest, man. as the days progress, if you start to feel better, if your memory kicks back in, please keep in touch.
Right.
And so that's what happened, man. He kind of rested for a little bit. Well, during that whole time, dog, major news media and magazines and all kinds of people are reaching out to Travis because, dude, this is interesting.
Right.
You have 7 people who are all telling the same story, and they're not switching up. Nobody's saying.
And then they find him, and he doesn't have a clue.
And they find him. He's been missing. So this is just strange.
Right.
So one of the biggest news outlets or whatever reaches out to him, the National Enquirer.
Oh.
And you know what that is.
I remember the Enquirer.
And they were crazy, dog, for always telling crazy stories.
Yeah, I remember them.
They reach out to Travis and they tell him, look, we are willing to move you to a safe location. We'll pay you if you'll sell us your story. We want to know your story. Please tell us your story. So after a while, Travis agrees. He goes, he sits down for an interview, man, and what Travis told him shocked the world, bro.
Oh, he remembered.
He starts to remember. And what he told them in his interview shocked the world.
Wow.
Travis recalls the craft and the sound that it was making. He said that he looked up, it started to spin, and it made some weird mechanical noise, and a light hit him, and he just blacked out. He said he woke up, and he saw a bunch of bright lights all around him. And he looked like he was in a hospital room. He was on a bed, laying with, just laying on a bed, and there was bright lights around him, and it looked like there was doctors in white lab coats, there was 3 of them all around him, and they looked like they were working on him, like messing with him. So he thought he was in a hospital. He's kind of groggy. He's in and out of it. But he sees the doctors. They're all wearing masks, and they're working on him. At some point, he wakes up, and he becomes fully aware. And he kind of looks down at his chest, and he sees a big black box sitting on his chest. And one of the doctors is inside the box working on something inside the box on his chest. It doesn't look like a mechanical device.
Right.
He said it looked like a big stone, like a black rock or something on top of his chest. So as he's kind of coming aware, the doctor sees that he's waking up. So the doctor leans in real close to Travis's face. And when Travis sees him, he gets terrified, bro. It's a very thin, narrow-headed gray figure. And its eyes look like 2 black slits. And they're about 4 feet tall. He notices they're standing on things to reach him.
Oh, wow.
They're only like 4 feet tall. And they got 2 black slits for eyes. And he freaks out, right? And he's kind of more aware. So he kind of jumps off the table, whatever falls off of him, whatever was on him.
So he wasn't strapped.
And he wasn't strapped in. He starts ripping stuff off of him, the cords they had on him. And he looks around and he grabs the nearest object he can find. And he starts waving it at them, kind of like a weapon. You know what I mean? And they kind of tilt their heads at each other. And then they start walking closer to him. And they want to examine him some more. So Travis sees the exit and he runs out of the room. And he ends up in a hallway. And he notices it's kind of small, the area he's in. It's a small room, and then it's a small hallway. He kind of ducks through a hallway, and he sees another door. So as soon as he sees that door, he bolts into that room. And it's an empty room with a chair right in the middle. And it's just one chair in the middle of the room, and there's a panel next to it with buttons on it. And so he runs in and he's kind of searching the walls, you know what I mean? It's a real smooth room. There's no edges, no doors, no windows, just that chair. So he starts pressing buttons on that chair, on that panel, and nothing's happening. Well, as he was examining that panel and chair, a man walks in through the door, and he looks like a human. And so he sees him, and it looks like he's wearing a spacesuit. And so he kind of gets happy. Because he's like another human. It's not one of those creatures, those humanoid creatures I just saw. So he runs up to him, right? And he starts asking him, man, please help me, man. I don't know where I'm at. Can you please help me? Well, that guy, he notices he won't look at Travis. He just looks weird. He's a human, but his eyes look weird. They look like they're just staring straight like he's in a trance. And he's like, hello, excuse me, I need help, please. And so he grabs Travis by the arm. And he starts leading him into the hallway again. And he notices there's something weird about this guy. So they walk back into the hallway, and then they take him to this area where there's some stairs. Then they go down some stairs, and they open up the door to a huge building, bro, that looks like a hangar, like an airplane hangar.
Right.
It's huge, massive. And there's all sorts of crafts in there that are all hovering in midair, just like the one he saw. they're everywhere like airplanes, just hovering in midair. And he keeps telling that guy, "Who are you, man? What is this place? Where am I at?" And that guy won't answer him. He just won't speak to him. He just keeps leading him into another doorway. And as soon as he opens that door, he sees 3 more humans in suits. Another 3 humans, and they all look like this guy. They're just their eyes, they're weird. They won't look at Travis. They're just kind of like staring off in the distance and moving things out the way.
Insane.
And he leads them to that room with those 3 people, and there's a table. So they kind of grab Travis, and he kind of starts. He's a little hesitated,
right?
But then they start using force. They grab him and they put him on the table and strap him down. And he's kind of fighting back.
Now he's strapped.
Yeah, but they're just, and he's asking them, "What are y'all doing to me? Like, what's going on?" They won't answer him. They won't talk.
That's crazy.
And they strap him in, and then they put this gas mask over his face, and the next thing he remembers is waking up on that road where he woke up at and seeing the craft fly off.
So he don't remember nothing. Like
he don't remember about
dissected him or nothing.
They put him back to sleep and I guess dropped him off. And so after a while, man, it took a while. But, because he's so busy with the news outlets, he's on TV, he's on radio stations. They're wanting to know his story. Man, his story got so big, Unc, that they ended up turning it into a movie, and there's been numerous books written on his story. And so during that whole time, he didn't have a chance to reconnect with his crew.
Right.
And so finally, after a while, he does get back with his crew and they talk. He tells them his story, and they all believe it.
Right.
And they have believed it for 40 plus years.
Yeah, because they witnessed it.
And no, bro, after all this time, bro, even till this day, nobody has changed their story. Their story has stayed the same.
Wow.
They insist that they saw him abducted that night. And, it's crazy, Unc, because with these stories, you always wonder, what do people have to gain? You would think that they're telling these stories for the notoriety.
Right.
But there was no benefits that came out of this. They didn't get paid. I mean, yeah, he got paid to sell his story.
To the Inquirer.
What did that do for his life afterwards?
Nothing.
Because now everybody thinks that they're liars or that they made up this hoax.
Right.
And some of them, man, there's reports of that. I can
imagine how much hate he got.
Right, yeah. You see the backlash they would get.
Yeah.
One of the guys, bro, on the crew said their family disowned him because of this story, because he won't tell them that he was lying.
For 5 days, he's been missing.
They're embarrassed of this guy.
And they think he was somewhere else and doesn't want to tell the truth.
There's a theory going on why this story was told. So, remember earlier I was saying that forest agent went and surveyed the field that they were supposed to be working in, and they said that there was no way they were going to meet the deadline, and they were going to get hit with that fine.
Right.
So there's a story, or there's a theory going on that these guys were doing something called, like, to get out of that contract, they were doing something like called an act of God. Like something that beyond their control that would stall them from finishing this project.
Right.
So that it would get out of them having to meet the deadline.
That's the mind of everybody, Some
like a normal human. Yeah.
You're like, dude, you're making up the story, or their family's like, dude, you're just lying to not finish a project that y'all got paid for.
Right.
But then again, I'm thinking to myself, they let this dude go because he was a fighter. And I'm thinking that the 3 humans that he saw or whatever have already been brainwashed.
Okay, that makes sense. I got a theory on that.
That's what I'm saying. If it was a real abduction.
Maybe they were trying to make him one of the men in the spacesuits.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a good theory. That's a good theory. This is my theory, Unc. Not to cut you off, but this is my theory. I think those 3 people in the spacesuits, I think those were the doctors that were in the room. What if they were like, damn, he's scared, so let's put ourselves in human form so he'll go with us.
Good.
Because like Men in Black. Like how they're normal people hiding in human skin.
Sight, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I've always said there's humans, there is aliens out there look like us, I mean, look at Dennis Rodman. He gotta be an alien, dog.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, he gotta
might
be an alien. No, but in reality, I mean, You know, I'm not a big believer of being abducted.
Right.
I mean, and I do believe in UFOs. I do believe in extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
I just don't think that if they're more advanced than we are and want to know about us, why pick an ordinary person? I mean,
Like, why just choose anybody?
Anybody, you know, that's in the area, because his brain. I'm not saying this guy's not smart.
Right.
You know, but why not abduct
Like someone.
a genius?
Well, how would they know? You know what I mean?
I mean, they're more advanced than us. They should
yeah.
know. I think I don't know why they would see, and I think that's my theory. Why would they want to
Abduct the average Joe? Yeah.
abduct any human? I mean, if they know who we are.
I get what you're saying, because you're saying like they're so advanced. Why? What are they? What business do they have messing with us?
Well, if
I get what
to
you're
be
saying.
abducted is to give you knowledge.
Right.
Of course, nobody's going to believe it. But if you come back with some knowledge that we don't know yet,
Well, maybe.
and he's an average Joe, like if they abducted me, I'm not a genius. Well, I am. But, you know, if I came back and I all of a sudden knew how to be an engineer, you know, build skyscrapers or come back with the theory of evolution or theory of how the pyramids were made with actual facts that I know that are true, and like, how did this dude, you know?
Yeah.
I got abducted. They gave me knowledge. I would believe that.
Right. Like if they were getting something from us.
Yeah.
But they don't need nothing from us because
They
they're
don't need
way
nothing. That's
advanced.
what I'm saying.
But
if they're going to teach us something,
I don't know. But think about it, huh? We as like doctors, or I say we, like I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, right now
I'm
we're
drinking water.
water.
Yeah, we're drinking sparkling water. But you know, doctors test lab rats. You know, rats. They do tests on rats, and
But
we could
what?
be their lab rats. I don't know.
but what did they do to him? You know, what?
There was an injection site on his arm.
But I mean,
What did they put in him?
I mean, apparently they didn't find anything in the system.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I wonder if it's because
can be detected.
Right. I wonder if it's because we're different than them. So maybe they're looking at our anatomy and our bone structure or whatever. Because you know how aliens are portrayed.
Yeah.
The little narrow big heads with the narrow bodies.
But
And
why 4-footers, dog? Why are all aliens small? I don't understand that, dog.
that is weird, right? Why are they little?
I'm not saying that they should be these giants, but
I feel like they'd be bigger than 4 feet.
yeah,
right?
dog. I mean,
I'm bigger than an alien.
yeah, me too.
And I'm
you know?
short.
Me too. You know, so. But that's a good story, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
dog. And you know.
and like I said, I can believe him. I just wish that if he had more knowledge,
Right.
I think with knowledge, it's more believable.
This is why I believe him, Monk. This is why I believe him. I think you have 7 people who are all telling the same story for 40 years. Then you got 6 of them who are all passing polygraph tests, man. I mean, I know polygraph tests aren't the most reliable,
Right.
but at the time, 1975, I mean, I don't know, that's saying something. Like,
Right.
to me, I think if you have all these people saying the same story and they haven't changed their tune for 40 years,
Right.
or right, it's been 75, 40 plus years.
I'm born in '66. That's 9 years, so that's 50 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, you got to think, dog, after so long and nobody's broke, and like I said, there wasn't anything to gain from this,
Right.
because some of it, I mean, they lost their credibility.
Right, for everything.
Who believes an alien abduction story?
Right. Especially in the '70s, I understand that.
You know what I mean?
Nowadays, it's a little bit different, you know, because we have seen a lot more.
Yeah,
you know, as the years
like
progress,
UFO sightings,
you
and
know.
now the Congress is out here saying they have files on UFOs.
Okay, so this cat woke up on the ground, didn't realize he was missing for 5 days. So, did they take his memory?
How long was he out for? You know what I mean? That he don't remember.
Yeah, but I mean, you would remember 5. You know, well, maybe not if you were.
Like if you're under. the anesthesia, whatever they used.
Yeah, like tomorrow when I wake up, what day is it? You know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, excellent story. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's just, I think knowledge is a key.
Right.
I think anybody who comes back saying from an abduction or whatever,
Right.
should have some kind of knowledge. I mean, why would that dissect us? I mean, I don't. Maybe for our anatomy, I don't know. For
that's what I'm saying. Who's to say? But I mean, something about us must intrigue them if they're doing it so often.
If they're coming,
you know what I mean? They're coming over here for a reason. So it's like, I don't know, but man, this is, to me, this story is believable for me.
Right.
I really enjoy this story. And, you know, of course, there's people who say it's a hoax, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I find it hard to have 6 friends tell a lie for you for 40 plus years, you know?
You know.
And it's, like I said, they were polygraphed in different rooms and their story didn't change.
Polygraphs and polygraphs, dog. I mean,
but even still, just the oral telling of their story.
Being able to be honest. I'm not saying that they don't believe themselves what happened that night.
Facts.
I just don't believe in the abduction just quite yet. I just don't think that there's a reason to be abducted.
Yeah.
You know,
we're not that interesting.
I'm not saying we're not interested. Your average Joe's not interested.
Yeah, to an alien. That's what I'm saying. To somebody who has mastered the space flight.
Space flight with no combustion.
Yeah, no gravity. I mean,
look how detailed the craft was in 75.
Dog, and it's so crazy to think about that, dog. It's funny that I chose this story because yesterday, me and my dad, me and my dad went to go watch a movie called Ash.
Right.
And it's about these people on another planet, like an Earth-like planet, and they're there trying to see if they can make a new Earth.
Right.
They're going to see if they can make the air breathable.
Right.
And I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but if you plan on seeing Ash, this might be a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So at some point, they find an alien being, it's like a spider or like some type of infection, a parasite, that crawled its way into the ship. And bro, it's crazy. It jumps on them and crawls up their nose, and it can make the human do whatever it wants. It uses the human body as a vessel.
Okay.
And so it's like, that kind of stuff is crazy, dog. Because, bro, can you imagine?
Who thinks about that?
All these worlds that could be out there.
Right.
Have you ever seen that picture where it's like, it zooms out and it's like that little dot is the world, and it zooms out and you see all these big spirals.
Right.
And they're like, each spiral is its own galaxy. And in its own galaxy, there's millions of planets.
Right.
Bro, we're the only people that exist in the world.
Okay. I've always said this, man. You know, God created the heavens and earth. I've always believed that.
Right.
In His own image. But who's to say He didn't create others? You know.
I mean,
He created dinosaurs for a reason, or maybe not for a reason. In our planet. In other planets, I mean, is there a life form that He said, you know what? And they are believing that He is God over everything too?
That makes me. That's the kind of questions that keep me up at night.
Yeah, because
could there be another world of humans somewhere else that we just don't know about?
Even these aliens, maybe they are human, but in alien form,
right?
And still believe in God, and that's why they're like, and they're coming down and see, you know, how are these people still, you know, surviving because of everything that has happened in this world.
Right.
You know, with Moses and, you know,
right.
The dinosaurs, you know, the cavemen or whatever.
Right.
You know, it just makes me wonder. I mean, where do we really come from? I know God created us, but cavemen.
Don't you?
Know, I heard this one time that cavemen were created by the devil.
I've heard that too. I've heard that before.
They had no communication skills.
And they had no knowledge. They grunted.
Yeah. You know, they
were afraid of fire.
They found fire by lightning.
And they were afraid of it.
And they were at first, you know, then they realized they can cook with it. So that's Darwin's theory of evolution.
Yeah.
I'm not believing Darwin's theory. I'm sorry.
I don't think we, like they say we came from apes. I don't believe that, dog.
But there were cavemen. There were you know they were called what I don't remember.
Neanderthals.
You know.
Yeah.
And they learned and
evolved.
The devil was trying to make a perfect human like us. I'm not saying we're perfect people.
I know what you're talking about. Where God made us in His image, or He was going to make us in His image, and the devil was jealous of God.
Yeah.
And he came down to earth, and you know the Bible says that the earth is His kingdom.
Right.
This is where He roams, looking to and fro.
Right.
You know who He can devour. He was trying to do what God was trying to do on here,
but He didn't have God's knowledge.
And He did it all jacked up. That's why instead of animals that were beneficial to the humans, He made dinosaurs. Yeah. And they killed humans. And they it is true. Could it be?
I mean, I don't know how we ended up here, but is there really aliens?
Dude,
are they really humanoids that were created?
I wonder, because Doc, what do you think the Vatican is hiding? Because they know stuff, bro. Yeah, have you ever seen on TikTok?
I see it all the time.
I don't know if it's true. Have you ever seen that device called the chronovisor?
Yeah.
And it's like, it shows an image. It's like Jesus walking through the forest, or it's like, it shows old things like where you can go back in time. They say the Vatican has it in their vault.
Well, they also like have tombs so deep under the Vatican. You know, they just found that one of the pyramids,
right?
So deep, spiral stairs going a mile deep.
I ain't see that. Oh, damn!
Could have that the spirals with the stairs were also electric.
Like elevators?
No, elements in order to supply energy, to supply electricity.
Oh.
Bro.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Just, because now with the technology, they can see further deeper.
They can like map out underground. That's how you do the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
And
hey, that's wild, dog.
So what are they? I'm please, people, we're not knocking the Catholics. We're not.
No, we're not. No.
But we know that.
But I'm just saying.
We know the government hides things. Hey, I really want to look up the Kennedy files.
Oh yeah, we need to do a dissection of that.
Yeah,
and look into it. Because you see, they asked Trump about it, and he said that what he saw wasn't earth shattering.
Right.
But I'm like, what was in there, dog?
What was in there? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's now stuff's coming out.
Right. Right.
So
that's what I'm saying, dog.
What is Vatican? Why the Dead Sea Scrolls? Hidden. Why is the Book of Enoch in the Vatican in the vault?
Or like they say, the Ark of the Covenant is inside the Vatican.
Ark of the Covenant?
And it's like, bro. Oh, what are they hiding? I don't know. And nobody can go down there.
They also said they have Jesus' robe.
Yeah, they say they have this. And then you've heard of the Shroud of Turin, right?
Well, that's still
where it has his image and stuff.
That was,
bro, that's scientific.
Yeah, but that was almost burnt. It did catch fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why you see some lines that are burnt, because it was folded in a box and a fire years. Man, I don't know how many years, but.
And almost burnt
up. And the only way that image is on there was because of the Immaculate Rising. When
right.
When they buried him in the tomb on the third day that he rose again, that it was so powerful, this light that took
that it burned the image into that shroud.
To the shroud. That's the only reason it's there. And I think that's so obviously true, because we see as we die that our spirit's going to heaven.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people aren't in heaven now.
Yeah.
But God's going to come back to judge the living and the dead. So when he takes the people he's going to take, I think it's going to be in such an explosion.
But
it's going to be such a radiant light that the non-believers are going to be so afraid. Yeah. Because they're going to know now.
Yeah. And to keep with the alien thing, I have a theory on what else aliens could be, dog. What if they're angels? Have you ever thought about that? And this is why I say that. The angels, like...
Well, I know what they say the angels are.
Or like, they could be the watchers, like from the Book of Enoch, watching over civilization. Because think about it, huh?
Because they haven't...
What are angels? They're not from this planet.
They're not from this planet. They're not even humans.
They're extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
They're not from this planet. They're not humans.
You're right, nephew.
And, dog,
Yeah.
They
you know,
can,
everybody has this depiction of an angel being human with wings, and they're not.
yeah, well, because the Bible talks about there's different forms of angels.
Right.
There's the cherubim. There's
Right.
you know like the ones that look with the eyeballs and the
Right.
spinning wheels and you know
And maybe that's why we hear all the time about
spinning crafts and
crabs
stuff.
falling. You know, did they just all of a sudden Satan grabbed a hold of them?
I don't know, man.
You know,
that's a
kept
good
them
theory,
here.
dog. That's
And
a good
kept them
theory.
here because if they're watchers and they're just coming watching us, but Satan gives a hold of them and brings them down, now he's got more power. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to have a lot of power once the
7 years of
tribulation, dog. And
but see, that's what I'm saying. To keep with the alien stuff, that could be a good theory.
it
I've
could be
had
the
that
watchers,
theory for a
man.
long
It
time.
could.
Could it be the angels? Could it be
Because
aliens?
you know we depict these UFOs like War of the Worlds.
Oh, like those big robots?
Yeah, I mean they needed to feed on our blood. That's just crazy for me to think like that.
Yeah, that's wild.
But I mean I don't think it'll ever go to that point. You know, like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
I think now that you said that, nephew, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Right.
Because why have they not attacked?
Cause maybe they're not trying to attack. They're just
They have
watching
no
us.
reason. They're watching us.
They're watching
dog.
over us.
See, you just made me think a different way because I never thought about it like that. But you're right.
Right.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, we always thought, these guys are here to harm us.
And maybe they're just watching
They're
us.
just watching us. You know,
just
maybe
making sure the
maybe
world
they
don't
took
blow
this guy
themselves.
up to say, hey, we're
And you see, they say there's reports of aliens that they're always flying over nuclear test sites.
Right.
What if they're just making sure we don't blow
that we
ourselves
don't
up?
blow- Yeah. Before God,
Could it be?
wrath.
No.
Are they stopping?
Hell
Are they
yeah.
stopping world destruction for
Yeah,
God's
maybe they're
wrath?
just watching just to make sure these people don't kill themselves. Hey, that's a good theory, dog.
Yeah,
That's a good theory, man.
That is good, man. I see. So
That's
I don't
cool,
know,
man.
man, but
yeah, that was a good story today,
it
man.
was,
I
man.
I think I want to do one segment of things that piss me off.
all right.
Before
I
we
was
go,
wondering.
yeah, man, I got a good segment for you today.
Talk to
Something
me, man.
funny as hell, man. So this is today's segment of things that piss me off. I got one for you, Unc. Man, I got sick not too long ago,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
You know what really pisses me off, dog? Throwing up.
Last week after we did the podcast, you was all sick.
Throwing up. Dog, that is the worst sickness. I'd rather have the flu than get throwing up and vomiting again. I mean, vomiting and, man, especially when it's coming out of
So that
both ends.
pisses you off is vomiting?
Let me tell you what really pisses me off. Usually when I have to throw up, I get nauseated, I fight it. Because I don't want to throw
keep
up,
swallowing.
dog.
Just keep swallowing.
I just sit there and I fight it, man, and I feel sick, and I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here and I'm not gonna do it. This is what pisses me off, dog. You know when you've lost the battle?
Not really, nephew.
When you're laying there and your mouth starts getting watery and salty. It's over, dog. You lost.
Me, but
you better get up and go to that toilet, man. It's over. And sure enough, man, I go to that toilet. Like the Exorcist.
That's crazy. I know your mama was telling me this.
Dog, I was sick, man.
She was sick too. I didn't, and I had no clue.
Dog, it was crazy. It's like it happened overnight.
Yeah.
And I was sick for like 2-3 days, man, with stomach, man, it was coming out of both ends. Bro, at one point, this pisses me off too, dog. I'll be in the toilet, man. I mean,
with the wastebasket in front of you,
and I'm sitting there using the bathroom, and then I gotta grab the trash can.
Yeah.
Man, it's coming out of both ends.
Damn, dog.
Hey, man, I
don't think that's ever happened to me, but
man, throwing up pisses me off.
Well, I'm hoping tomorrow that I don't get so nauseated that I have to throw up. I hope not, dog.
To me, that's the worst sickness ever, bro. I hate it, man, and I got anxiety, man. So I feel like. It just
so you can't breathe, you can't shit at the same time.
No, I just be like, man, dude, it like takes a lot out of me, dog. I be on the like I throw up, man, and I just lean on the counter like
throw it up. Yeah. And then when you're just dry heaving,
oh, that's the worst, dog. That's when you be hugging the bowl.
man,
Man,
trying to
don't let it come out,
man,
man.
the next day you just can't even touch your stomach because it's so sore.
Dude, I was at work, man, and my whole chest was hurting, man. I was like, man, I ain't used these chest muscles in a while, I guess.
For no reason but to throw up.
Man, you don't realize how much of your body you use when you throw up, dog.
I do.
Man.
And that's a good reason for you to be pissed off, nephew. I don't really get pissed off. So.
Man, I was pissed off of them 3 days. Dude, I was sick, man, and I hated it, man, because you know me, dog. I like to get up and move around the city and do yard work.
Yeah, you're up. And, dude, if I'm off, I'm Netflixing, sleeping,
chilling. Yeah. Dude, I move around, bro. Like my homeboy always tells me, man, one of my brother, my best friend, he always tells me, dude, he's like, man, you're so hard to get a hold of. He's like, you're always busy. I said, I know, man. I'm always doing stuff.
Yeah,
but that's a good thing, though, man. I like it. I like staying busy. Sometimes it keep you out of trouble.
Me, I just stay at home and watch TV. I stay out of trouble that way.
He said, I just be watching Yellowstone.
Man, it's over, dog. So.
Well, man, I had a good time tonight, man. I think we had a good wrapping point, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm just thank y'all for any prayers or.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Thoughts.
Yeah, when this drops, it'll be after surgery. So
yeah, I'll be at home and. Well, I'm not gonna be in
the Terminator. You're gonna be the Terminator.
Or maybe I'll be all tink tink.
Poor little tink tink.
Yeah, I hope I'm not tink tink, dog.
Nah, you gonna be alright, dog.
Yeah.
Well, man, I had a good time tonight, man.
Nephew.
I guess we better wrap it up, man.
Yeah.
Man, thank y'all for staying and watching another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Uncle Nephew. And, man, until next week, man.
Peace.
Peace.